From recruiting and consulting firm Riderflex, I'm your host, Steve Urban, and here is your Riderflex podcast episode of the day. Aaron Kirley on the Riderflex podcast. How you doing, Aaron?
I'm doing well, thanks.
Awesome. Thank you for being on the show. I'm interested to get into your story on LugLess because I hate checking my bags at the airport, so I want to hear all about it. But before we get into it, tell us about yourself personally. Give the listener a little overview, where you grew up, some family stuff.
Sure. Okay. So I was born and raised in Massachusetts. I'm still in Massachusetts. I actually live in a coastal town about 13 miles south of Boston.
I don't hear where's the accent? How come we don't have the thick accent? Where was that?
So I was born in Western Mass and now I'm in Eastern Mass where all the Boston accents are. So I never picked that up as a kid, but,
Gotcha.
So yeah, and so I live with my wife. I have 3 boys that are all under 10, and then a new puppy. So it's pretty busy around my house.
Yeah, it's busy. There's not a lot of free time. You don't have a lot of free time right now.
That is for sure. And so so I met my co-founder Zeke Adkins when we were in our early teens. We both attended Deerfield Academy, which is a prep school in Western Mass, and that's where we met.
Okay.
I went on to get a degree in manufacturing engineering from Boston University. And I've always really had, I would say, like a passion for figuring out more efficient ways to do things.
Okay.
And so after graduation, I actually spent 4 years working as a business consultant with Accenture.
Mm-hmm.
It was Anderson Consulting, and then it switched to become Accenture. Before I made the jump into entrepreneurship and started, I teamed up with Zeke, who I'd known since we were teenagers at that point. And, we started focusing on figuring out how to improve the way people travel.
And where did that bug come from? That entrepreneurial bug? I mean, were his parents or your parents? Did somebody own their own business? Like where'd that come from?
Yeah, I mean, so Zeke was working for a venture capital firm at the time. So he had his eye on a lot of entrepreneurial activity, but I come from a family, my dad was an entrepreneur. His dad was an entrepreneur. They were both like architects and they were in the construction world, but they both ran their own businesses. And then, I mean, both of my brothers are entrepreneurs, so I think it's a little bit in my blood. Yeah.
So early on, you're calling Zeke saying, "Look, man, I want to own. Let's own our own thing. I don't want to be an employee my whole life."
Yeah. We were both. Yeah. The first thing we did is we actually bought a condo and remodeled that. That was our first little entrepreneurial adventure. That went okay, and then, we threw around a lot of ideas before we landed on shipping luggage.
Who came up with the luggage? Were you at the airport one day and you're like, damn, this is a pain in the ass, or how'd that happen?
Yeah, I mean, so this was back in like 2004 when we started talking about it. And back then the airlines, it was basically free to check bags.
I remember that. I remember those days.
Yeah, back in the day. So everyone had a ton of luggage, of course, and they had these aging airport systems and they were losing bags left and right. And it was always in the news how, the on-time percentage of baggage, they were struggling. And so we kind of created our first luggage shipping company, Luggage Forward, as an answer to that problem.
Okay. So, all right. So at that time, did it take a lot of capital to get it going? Did you talk to us about how you got started and how you survived when you quit Accenture? I want to know about the early days. How'd you get it going? Talk to me about that.
Yeah. So, we started it we basically ran the business on a shoestring for about 2 years. So it was a bit of a challenge. We had some money saved up that we lived off of for a while. And then we ended up, we eventually started making some money, not a lot though. So in 2006, we actually raised a Series A round of funding, from basically, it was more of like an angel round from professional investors. Everyone who invested were sort of VC guys that just our business didn't fit into their funds, so they invested privately.
Okay. And all right, but you guys kept control. You're still in control, I hope.
We kept control, and by 2013, we had actually bought back all the equity that we gave up when we raised money. So,
Oh, wow.
we're now 50-50 owners of the business again.
Oh, so together you own 100%. Nice job.
Yeah. Yeah. So we hung on to it.
Well, and then walk us through the luggage forward into LugLess transition and give us the overview of LugLess as it stands today.
Okay. So first of all, LugLess is, we like to say it's a cost competitive alternative to checking luggage when you travel.
Okay.
And so LugLess sort of relies heavily on technology to make it seamless and cost effective to ship your luggage with UPS or FedEx for less than the cost of checking. And so, yeah, I mean, I guess in 2005, we launched Luggage Forward.
Okay.
And Luggage Forward was sort of always unapologetically premium. It came at a high price point. And so, you know, the market for that was limited to sort of your luxury leisure travelers, who weren't very cost conscious.
People flying from Boston to Aspen to go skiing, stuff like that.
Yeah, a lot of that. Yes. Aspen's a big destination for Luggage Forward. So, so those people, you know, that's a small market. But we did a lot of hand holding and developed some, you know, really strong business doing that. But we always thought that like luggage shipping would appeal to the mass market. And so, in 2014, we acquired LugLess. LugLess had been on Shark Tank, but it didn't raise any money. You know, the sharks didn't invest, but it built some really nice brand equity from being on Shark Tank. This was around the time when other innovative travel services like Airbnb and Uber and Kayak were really starting to change the way people traveled. And so we relaunched LugLess after building technology from the ground up with the goal of making it cheaper and easier to ship luggage than it is to check.
And that's how LugLess stands today. So LugLess today, is it like an app for me to download on my phone, or walk me through it?
Yeah, no, it's not an app. So we have a website, and I mean, it's pretty simple. So you go on our website, and enter your origin and destination, similar to how you'd book an airline ticket. You choose the bags that you want to ship, and then you can you print a shipping label and you can drop it off at any UPS or FedEx location, or we can also dispatch them to your home to pick it up directly from your home. The next time you see your luggage, it's at your hotel, or if you're traveling to like an Airbnb or something, we can have it held nearby for collection when you arrive in town.
Okay, so let me make sure I get this straight. I can go to lugless.com. I can sign up, print off my stuff. FedEx will come to my house, pick up my baggage. When I get to my hotel, and I check in at the lobby, they're going to have my bags.
That's right. Yep.
Okay. Why wouldn't everybody do it that way?
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. So, I mean, the reason why I think is because it's really hard to change people's behavior. And that's been a challenge of ours for years. People are really ingrained in, packing last minute and hauling your bags to the airport with you, waiting in the check-in line and at the carousel. When you ship your luggage, you kind of have to plan a little ahead, because most people don't want to pay for an overnight service. They're going to want to send it 3 or 4 days ahead of time.
Okay.
And then, but the second you ship your luggage, you sort of like your stress level diminishes, because like all you have to do is get yourself to the airport and get on your flight at that point. And so you got to pack anyway, whether you pack a couple days before your flight or at midnight the night before. I mean, it's the same process.
So the only catch is that you have to ship your bags a little earlier instead of day of. That's it. That's the only.
Yeah, we don't have a day of. We have an overnight service. That's more expensive. That's not cost competitive with checking bags.
Okay.
You really need to look at like our 3-day service to get cost competitive with checking a bag.
Can I get the 3-day service and FedEx pick it up at my house without me as cheap as I can checking it at the airport?
Yes, you can. Yeah, the pickup charge is between $3 and $6, so it's pretty cheap to have them come to your door.
Wow. I can check my bags. I can send my bags 3 days ahead of time. Now the hotel doesn't mind it staying there for a day or whatever. You're not getting pushback from the hotels. They're not like, hey, we're not baggage storage or whatever.
No, yeah, I mean, there's some like it's funny, the big hotels on like the Vegas Strip,
Yeah,
charge fees and stuff to hold your luggage, but the majority of hotels will just hold it for you. And when you check in at the hotel, you know, they'll say, oh, we have a package for you. Should we bring it up to your room, or would you like to wait here and we can hand it off to you? Yeah.
well, can you get the hotel people to like put it in my room for me so I don't even have to do that?
Yeah, that's what they want to do usually, because so they'll just bring it up to your room and leave it in your room. So wow. It works great.
FedEx picks it up at my house 3 days before. It costs me the same amount. I get to my hotel, it's in my room. I mean, I don't understand why everybody's not doing that. That's a no-brainer unless you're traveling at the last minute. I just don't understand why everybody's not doing it that way. Okay. I love the service. Is there a lot of competition? Do you have is there a super secret formula, patented information here? Is this what keeps you from the competitors?
So shipping luggage is a little more complicated than just getting a FedEx account. Or a UPS account or whatever. So, you know, I mean, we spent 10 years, in the nitty gritty of shipping before we were even at a place where we could consider launching what LugLess is today. But there are some other companies doing things in the luggage space, but nobody is shipping luggage for the cost of checking.
Nobody's shipping. How did you get to that price point? How did you get your
well, that's been like our focus. That's like, we're like obsessively focused on driving our costs down. And like, that's all we focus on. You know, we want to make it easy and cheap. And we're staying really focused on just those two things. And, you know, that means that what we do doesn't appeal to everyone. You know, one thing that we do to keep it affordable is we don't have a phone number you can call and chat with us about it.
Because then you got to have employees to have those conversations.
Right. And so, you know, we have really incredible information all over our site, and we do have live chat. And, you know, you can reach out to us, but, you know, our support is a little bit limited. So there's a few things we're doing to kind of keep those costs down.
How do I decide whether or not to use Luggage Forward or LugLess? Luggage Forward is if I'm going to Aspen and I'm shipping 4 sets of skis and all kinds of crap, or what's the difference?
Well, so if you want, so Luggage Forward is the price points quite a bit higher. Okay. Luggage Forward offers a global service. So if you're traveling internationally, you have to use Luggage Forward.
Okay.
That's really Luggage Forward's core business is really international travel and traveling to cruise lines. Two things that there's not much of during these COVID days. So that's why we're focusing pretty heavily on LugLess right now. But yeah, Luggage Forward, those are the two sort of core focuses of Luggage Forward is international and cruise.
Do I have is there like reward points? Can I become like a silver member, or is there anything fancy?
We've toyed with that. That's something that's sort of on our roadmap, but it keeps getting pushed down the priority list. But yeah, maybe someday, but not right now. We don't have any rewards program. No.
Okay. Well, you got Luggage Forward with better margins, and LugLess is tinier margins for you, but hopefully higher volume. That's the model, I guess.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's much higher volume.
Okay.
LugLess is quite busy.
Okay. I interviewed another guy. I'm not going to mention, I don't want to start mentioning competitors' names, but there's been another friend of mine on the podcast that owns a similar business. So I know you got competition out there.
Yep.
Which means, price, reviews, efficiency, ease of use. I mean, that's what matters.
Yeah, and that's what we're focusing on. Yeah.
Okay, very good. All right, so you've had it now for the entire entity. You've had for how many years? 16 years.
Yeah. 2004. Yeah, 16 years. Yes.
And now you guys own 100%. How many employees you got across the enterprise?
We have just like under 50 employees.
Under 50 employees. Are you looking to make another acquisition? Are you going to buy up some of these competitors?
For now, we're pretty happy with the two brands and the market share that we have. We're of course trying to grow that, but we're pretty happy with our position right now. We actually acquired 7 brands over the years, so like we had quite a run of industry roll up.
And LugLess is the only one you've done out of those 7 where you kept it as a separate brand name so far. The rest of them,
all the other brands sort of got rerouted into Luggage Forward, and LugLess was our 7th and last acquisition, and we sort of peeled it off as its own separate product.
Okay, what's the long-term plan? Do you hope to sell this thing, or is this going to be a lifestyle company just to feed your grandkids for a long time? Or are you guys going to flip this thing? What's the plan?
I had someone tell me once, run it like you're going to own it forever and be ready to sell at a moment's notice. I don't know. I mean, so we're not really actively trying to sell the business. We're just focusing on growing it. We've got a lot of exciting ideas about how we can continue to build the brand, both brands actually. And so, we're going to be doing that for a little while, for the foreseeable future.
I could see a day when you don't even check a bag at the airport. I mean, it's a pain in the ass to stand in that bag.
Oh, I know.
Who wants to do that? Nobody.
Nobody likes that.
Nobody wants to do it. Same thing. I answer that question very similarly here for Riderflex, for our recruiting firm. They're always like, "Are you going to sell it someday?" And I'm always like, "Look, man, we're just having fun running it. But are we for sale? I guess we're always for sale. Depends on the size.
Right.
Of
If the numbers right, why wouldn't you? Right. So.
Okay. What was the scariest? Did you have any super scary moments for you early on that you want to share? Any heartburn, super scary, woke up in a panic, in a sweat? You got anything you want to share with?
Yeah. I mean, so, I would say like LugLess, the journey for LugLess wasn't exactly how we planned it would be. Okay. We built some really amazing technology to power LugLess, which is one of the ways we keep the cost low. And our goal was to go out and sort of integrate with these big legacy travel companies. And although those conversations are still going on years later, none of that has really come to fruition, and this strategy hasn't quite panned out. And so, we haven't grown the way we thought we would.
Okay.
But sort of on the flip side, I would say we also, so that's I guess what I would say our biggest challenge.
Plus you've hit, I'm just assuming this year 2020 was a shit year for you so far. I mean, I'm guessing it wasn't as good as you wanted it to be with travel.
Oh, it wasn't, but it's been, we're one of the few travel companies that can actually say we're pretty happy with our growth this year. And wow. I can explain what's going on. So, the business was cranking along at maybe 300% year over year growth.
Well, nice.
When we bought, and in February, which was kind of the last pre-COVID month, February 2020, it dropped off a cliff when the world went into lockdown and everything stopped.
Yep.
But by August, our bookings had nearly tripled where they were in February.
Really interesting.
Yeah, and so it's really fascinating. I mean, and during that same time, the TSA screenings, which is a good measure of how many people are flying, were down like 60%. So we're growing 3x, nice. And they're down 60%. So, even though fewer people are traveling, we're more relevant than ever, and our market share is growing because people see us as a way to avoid time in the airport, avoid contact points. Like you don't have to wait in crowds at the check-in. So it actually, we never set out to be a solution to something like this, but it turns out we are.
I mean, your biggest problem is going to be scaling, probably. I mean, when travel gets back to full capacity and people are just going everywhere to events and stuff again, hell, your problem is going to be scaling and hiring employees, I'm guessing.
Yeah. I mean, that'll be a nice problem to have. We are heavily invested in our technology, which makes that a little bit easier. We don't handle the luggage. We're relying on FedEx and UPS to do most of the shipping. And I don't think we could ever give them so much that they would even blink, So like, I don't know.
Are your
I'm not
margins
super concerned about scaling, but yeah, there will be some challenges if travel comes back and people keep using us like this. It'll be an exciting time.
are your margins better with FedEx or UPS?
So what we do is we sort of put them up against each other
Yeah.
and show the cheaper of the two on our site. So and then we just we only take a few dollars for every bag that we ship. So
Gotcha.
And then we sell support plans, which is the other place where we make some revenue.
Oh, wait, and what are those support plans? Yeah, give me some examples.
So we have 4 support plans. There's minimal, basic, extra, and preferred and extra. And so they include things like you can, some of them have, that's where you would get like a doorstep pickup. You can increase your insurance. You can get an on-time guarantee. So there's a bunch of things that, like, all these things that we offer in our bundles, like, are all just included in Luggage Forward's one price. Whereas with LugLess, it's sort of a la carte and you choose what you want.
Okay. That's where your real money's made.
Yes, that's where we make some money.
Okay. Gotcha. All right.
But you don't need to choose a support plan. You can use our minimal plan is free. It's included. And so you can upgrade if you want, but the support plans are sort of optional. And
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. By the way, for the listeners, it's lugless.com or luggageforward.com. Okay.
Right.
Either one. All right. Very good. I appreciate you sharing that nice overview with me. Let me ask you a couple of things about being an entrepreneur and being a startup founder and all that. What advice would you give a couple of friends that want to start something that are younger, coming out of college, kind of like you were with your buddy?
Yeah.
They got an idea. What are 2 or 3 things you want to share with aspiring entrepreneurs today?
Yeah, well, I think the things that have helped me be successful as an entrepreneur, the first thing is I teamed up with a co-founder who has very similar goals. So we're aligned in what we're doing, but we each bring sort of distinct skills to the table. So this allows me to focus on things that I'm good at and parts of the business that I enjoy, while he deals with the stuff that, he enjoys and he's good at. And that's it makes it easy for me to sort of bring enthusiasm and passion to the table every day because I'm doing what I like. So that's one thing. The other thing that I would say is that you really want to build strong processes and systems around your business, which makes it easier and more effective when you delegate control to other people. Because you can't do everything yourself. I think it's natural for entrepreneurs to think that they can do everything better than everyone else. Right. But if you have really good processes and systems that people can follow, chances are they can do it nearly as good as you can because you made the processes, you came up with the way to do it. So, and this took me kind of a long time to figure out, but now that we've been able to delegate and sort of hand a lot of control over to our employees, it frees up my time to really focus on innovating and making LugLess cheaper and easier than checking. So
sounds like you and your co-founder get along just fine after all these years.
Yeah, I mean, we do, and I think it's because we're aligned and we focus on different things, and so we're not fighting over the same decisions,
Yeah, but there's had to be times where you call them and you're like, you want to tell them to take a hike for the day. There's got to be some of that in there.
Yeah, there have been ups and downs, but yeah, I mean, we've known each other for longer than we haven't. So,
Yeah.
we're basically like family now. It's been a long time.
Do you run it as like co-CEOs, or how does that work?
We are co-CEOs. The other thing that sort of helps is like, we were both in Boston for probably the first 8 years or so, but then he moved to Connecticut. So he's been remote since like 2000, for a while now. So I sort of run our day-to-day operations, technology and stuff, and he oversees all of our business development and marketing. And so,
so you're not in the same office getting on each other's
we're not in the
nerves
same
every day.
office, which probably helps a little bit too,
Very, very good. And there's clear separate. The employees know what you handle versus what he handles. It sounds like there's clarity there.
Yeah, we have really good clarity around that. And it's really, really helpful to have. I can't imagine running a business alone because it's, it's always good to have someone to run ideas off of and stuff. And it's just made us, I think we make better decisions as a team than we could ever do alone. So
it sounds like a 50-50 split though. What happens when you disagree? Would you flip a coin?
Yeah, my dad said that to me. He's like, never own a business with just one other person, because what do you do when you don't agree?
Right.
We haven't. I don't know. We battle it out until someone wins. I don't know.
Okay, very good. How about this question? Advice for people that find themselves in the CEO chair all of a sudden. They had an idea, they started a business, and then they look up from their desk and they're like, oh shit, I got 15 employees. I got to learn how to be a CEO today. Any advice for them?
I would say set some really good goals for yourself and remain laser focused on, doing one thing that you set out to do for the business. So try not to get caught chasing every opportunity, and really focus on your business, your core business.
It is difficult, right? You want to say yes to everything, because when you own a business, everybody's talking to you saying, oh, you should try this. Oh, you should do this. Oh, everybody wants to give you a bunch of advice, right? And it could send you down all these different paths if you're not careful, right? You got to be careful and just execute at what you're good at. I really believe that too. That's all those advisors and you don't have any more investors now, but I'm sure you have family members and people telling you, oh, you guys should also try this, right?
Oh yeah. Everyone's got an idea, and they're, a lot of them are great ideas, but they're just sort of distractions from the core thing you're trying to get really good at.
That's really good advice for the listeners, for any aspiring entrepreneurs, right? Don't let it be a distraction. Just focus on what you're good at and do it really well, and you'll probably be just fine.
Yep.
Okay, moving towards wrap up, Aaron, let me ask you, at this stage in your life, and you got 3 boys at home, so I'm going to ask you to separate this from family. So not including family, what is Aaron's core purpose in life? Why is he living on this planet? What's his core purpose here?
My core purpose, I would say, my core business purpose is really to figure out how to improve the way people travel. That's what we're focusing on.
Well, it sounds like you're doing that already.
Well, we just got to get more people to ship their luggage, and I think we'll get closer to that. But yeah,
interesting. It's interesting what you mentioned about the behavioral stuff. It is so hard to get somebody to change their behaviors, isn't it? I mean, it's just human nature. We just all hate change. It's very difficult. It's slow going to get them to change that.
Yep. Yeah. Well, so hopefully, I mean, it's interesting, but I think, this whole pandemic has started to sort of fuel some change. So hopefully that momentum keeps going.
I've been telling all of my business buddies that own businesses, I've been telling them for years, I'm like, listen, you should hire more remote employees. It's okay. You can hire remote employees. They can do a good job. You don't have to have everybody in the office. They fought me on it for years. And then now here we are. Now they're open to it.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta embrace it now.
If you could, last question, if you could call that young man coming out of Boston University in 2000 and tell him anything, and have a conversation with him on graduation day, knowing what you know now, what would you tell him?
I would tell him to, I don't know. I mean, I think I'd probably tell him the same thing I said before, which is like, build some systems and processes in your business so that so it's easier to delegate.
Yep. That way you can grow it, right? That way, if not, you're just going to do everything yourself, or you're going to try to scale it and it's going to be messy as hell.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't do everything yourself.
No.
After a point,
That's exactly right. Well, congratulations on what you've built so far.
Thank you very much.
I love it. I love it. Now, do I get like an extra discount because you've been on the Riderflex podcast? Is there like a code you need to email me or something?
Absolutely. Yeah, we can hook you up with a code. Yes, for sure.
I'm just joking you. Aaron, thank you for being on the Riderflex podcast. I appreciate it.
Okay. Thanks, Steve.
If you think today's tip or guest interview can help someone you know, please share this with them. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. If you're listening on YouTube, don't forget to hit that little bell next to the subscribe button so you can be notified when we release a new episode. Our show features entrepreneurs, business executives, and the stories behind how they got there, as well as daily tips on career advice and job interviews. You can visit riderflex.com to learn more about us and get information on the recruiting and consulting services we provide. Thanks so much for listening and have a great day.